Hello everyone. Today I'm going to take you away from the hustle and bustle. Immerse yourself in nature to build a masterpiece in the ancient forest. A sturdy wooden and stone house, an ideal and peaceful refuge. Imagine the birds singing, the fresh air, and your own hands. Together, we will create a miracle from the materials Mother Earth has given us: natural wood, pebbles, and forest mud. This is not just about building a house, it's a journey of self-conquest and the aspiration to live sustainably amidst pristine nature. To begin, I chose a flat plot of land in the forest. Together with my loyal four-legged friend, we started the first steps. After the foundation frame was completed, I poured soil into the foundation in thin layers of about 15 centimeters to ensure proper compaction. I used a rake to level the newly poured soil, avoiding unevenness and voids. I made a simple, rustic handheld compactor from natural forest wood. I started compacting from the edge of the brick wall and gradually moved towards the center to lock the foundation in place. I lifted the compactor vertically and let it fall freely so that the impact force penetrated deep into the ground. The compaction marks should overlap by 1/3 of the area to avoid missing any spots. Before placing the wood on the stone foundation, I had to take an important step. A layer of black plastic was laid along all four sides of the solid stone foundation. This layer prevents moisture from rising from the ground to the wooden supports. Wood in direct contact with the stone mortar is very susceptible to rotting. Then, I applied a layer of fresh mortar over this plastic layer. This mortar acts as a cushion for the wood. It helps distribute the force evenly and fill in small gaps. Instead of installing the roof system high up, I chose to install it on the ground because the ground level would allow me to create a more technically sound and safe roof system. I inserted the two main rafters so they fit together at the apex. I calculated the slope and beveled the edges from the ground. The two ends of the wood were pressed together without any gaps. A horizontal wooden beam was nailed between the two rafters. In roof carpentry, this is the belly bracing beam, which helps to counteract lateral forces, preventing the two rafters from tearing apart under the weight of the roof. Finally, I installed the rough eaves planks along the lower edge of the roof. These wooden planks are not decorative, but serve to shape the entire roof. These help keep the rafters straight, prevent twisting, and distribute the roof load more evenly. If this step is skipped, the roof edges are very likely to bend or become misaligned when laying the planks or tiles later. Each wooden plank is carefully aligned and securely fastened to the rafters to create a stable roof frame. Only when the eaves are complete can the roofing process achieve high accuracy and durability. After the black waterproofing membrane had completely covered the roof surface, I began the most creative step, laying the decorative wooden planks. Using hundreds of thin wooden planks of varying lengths, instead of laying them in straight lines, I chose to lay them in a staggered pattern. Each small plank was stacked on top of the other end, a staggered arrangement. Each plank completely covered the edge of the bottom plank, forcing rainwater to flow off course. With no straight gaps, water couldn't penetrate deep into the roof. Each plank was securely nailed to the rafters. Nails were only driven into the upper part of the plank, avoiding direct water flow points. After the roof was finished, I went downstairs and built a fireplace. First, I had to reinforce the wooden posts at the corner where I would build the fireplace. I added support beams, creating a sturdy frame to support the weight of the stones I was about to stack. Then I cleared the floor at the corner, a location carefully calculated for wind direction and smoke escape. A thick layer of black plastic sheeting was laid on the ground. This plastic sheeting acts as a moisture barrier. It prevents water from the cement mortar from seeping down and rotting the wooden floor. It also prevents moisture from the ground from rising up into the fireplace, avoiding sweating or cracking of the mortar and the fireplace heats up. When building, I spread a layer of flexible mortar on the base, then placed the logs horizontally. During the wall construction, I also installed the wooden window frames in the correct design positions. When the wall reached a certain height, I placed the square, sturdy, wooden window frames in place. The window frames are secured with vertical wooden posts so that when the logs are added, the wall and window lock together as a single unit. Inserting the windows from the beginning prevents the wall from being cut or damaged later, while maintaining the squareness and straightness of the window frames. Next, I started cladding the outer porch roof. Small wooden planks were fitted closely together to cover the roof structure. The cladding helps protect against rain and sun and increases the porch's durability. The edges of the roof were leveled to allow for natural water drainage during rain. Once the porch roof was finished, I returned to decorating the railing. I filled the grooves in the wooden railing with soil. Small flower pots were planted directly along the porch. The flowers made the porch space softer and more inviting. Then, the wooden railing was made final adjustments to ensure it was both sturdy and beautiful. Each natural wood plank retained its grain, creating a rustic feel. The railing now not only provides protection, but also serves as a decorative focal point. With all the details complete, the porch became an ideal place to relax. After the cordwood walls, built from forest log slices, slowly come together. The next step is crafting a bed worthy of this natural, handcrafted architecture. I begin by measuring and cutting wide timber boards to form the bed frame. The sound of a handsaw slicing along the wood grain rings sharply. Each timber is joined using solid metal fasteners, forming a strong rectangular frame. This structure defines the sleeping area and evenly distributes body weight. To prevent sagging, the bed stands on four solid, round log legs. Each leg keeps its raw, rough texture, true to the surrounding forest. Once the wooden platform is complete, I lay a reflective insulation layer. The full insulation covers the entire surface beneath the mattress. This layer adds comfort while blocking cold from the ground and stone walls. As the interior gradually took shape, I realized the house still lacked a focal point, the high ceiling, and this is where the old horse-drawn carriage wheel was given a new lease of life. I lifted the large wheel and placed it neatly on the wooden workbench. To blend in with the rustic space, I began cleaning and applying a protective paint. A deep black paint covered the central axle, while a deep brown was reserved for the spokes. I used a brush to apply the paint evenly, ensuring it penetrated deep into the wood grain. The paint helps protect against termites and creates a durable, classic look that will last over time. Work is temporarily put aside. Now the kitchen begins to fill with fragrance. The crackling sound of fire in the fireplace echoes after a long day. I prepare the ingredients on the wooden table I finished this morning. Fresh meat, cabbage, and vegetables are neatly chopped. The hot soup simmers on the stone stovetop. The red color of the beets blends in, creating a warm and comforting dish. In the cozy atmosphere, I enjoy the hot soup with crispy bread. A simple lunch to restore energy after hours of work. After finishing the interior floor, I went outside to work on the porch. To make the entrance softer, I built a semicircular stone threshold. I used wooden stakes and rope to create the perfect semicircle in front of the door. Each large stone slab was placed on a layer of mortar following the predetermined curve. The evenly fixed stones on the outside made the threshold look sturdy. The semicircle helped distribute the force of footsteps effectively, reducing mortar cracking. Once the interior of the house was complete, I decided to expand the living space outdoors. A stone sink and grill would be the perfect addition to outdoor parties. I started by digging the foundation and reinforcing the wooden pillars for the support frame. Large boulders were carefully selected to build the lower part of the structure. Instead of using regular cement, I used a mud clay mortar to bind the stones together. This mortar has high plasticity and good heat resistance for cooking. Between the layers of stones, I added soil and used large wooden sticks to compact it tightly, creating a solid, cohesive structure. The sink was designed right next to the grill for convenient food preparation. This stage required meticulous shaping. In the heart of the forest, A simple dinner concludes a perfect day. A small fire, a warm meal, and a truly meaningful day. In a place without noise, happiness comes from the smallest things. Join me in enjoying the flavors of the mountains and forests. As darkness fell, the candles on the wheel-shaped chandelier were lit. I leaned back in my warm bed, listening to the whine of the vast forest. This house is not just stone and wood, it is soul and perseverance. Thank you for accompanying me on this journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe to look forward to my next adventures. Goodbye and see you again.